Do you guys ever think of the insane number of classic games we used to get in one year? I'm talking memorable games for their quality. Like, look at 2007. That year alone we got Mass Effect 1, we got Call of Duty 4, Bioshock 1, Assassin's Creed 1, the first Portal, the first Crackdown, the first The Witcher, and the first Uncharted, among many, many others. One of the biggest releases of that year, maybe not in number of sales, or storytelling quality, or in gameplay, but in graphics, is released. Titled Crysis, this first-person shooter would become a sensation when it released in 2007, and along with its sequels, would create some of the best-looking games of all time. With its Cry engine, this game is still a big name among big PC players, because at the time almost no PC could run it. Thus would spawn a new meme in the world of PC building. Once fully constructed, the first question to ask would be, but can it run Crysis? So welcome to the third entry of this small series of mine, this time covering the Crysis Trilogy. This one shouldn't be as convoluted as the rest, right? So I'm writing this part like 2 weeks after writing everything else because, I don't know if you can tell, I'm sick and I have been for like a week and a half. This video should have come out like a week ago, so sorry for the delay, and let's get back to it. Funnily enough, the way I'm writing this script for this video is different from the rest. When it came to Bioshock or Mass Effect, I would play the first game, make the script, record it, edit it, and then do the same with the next 2 games and then put together all 3 videos. This time it was different. I decided to play all 3 back to back to back. Why? I don't know, I don't have a reason, funnily enough. But anyway, what is going to be different is that I'm not gonna talk too in-depth about each other separately. I'm going to speedrun the story for all 3 games as it is simple enough that it won't take too long. After that though, there are a lot of things to talk about, especially between the games. If you have played them and remember the story, you should know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's get this over with, shall we? Because there are some problems, let's say. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm playing the original games, not the remasters, so I'm not gonna comment on the multiplayer, because these games had one. I don't know how important it was or how good it was, and I can't really experience it because, you know, the newest one is 12 years old and the servers are kinda dead, so yeah. The year is 2020. We are Raptor team, formed by the leader Prophet, Psycho, Aztec, Jester, and us, Nomad. Our objective is to enter Lingshan, a fictional island south of the Philippines where the KPA or the Korean People Army have taken full control of the island. Our objective is to rescue Dr. David Rosenthal, as he sent a message to the US forces saying that he discovered something. Upon arrival and ejection, our parachute gets hit by something and we are forced to descend onto a nearby beach. This is where we get the tutorial for the game. You have 4 modes. You have Power Mode, where you jump high and punch hard. You have Shield Mode, where you take less damage, Speed Mode, where you run faster for a period of time, and Stealth Mode, which makes you invisible. As we go along the beach and get used to some useless mechanics, we hear come chatter that Aztec needs help as his parachute gets tangled in the trees. We reunite with Jester and we run to Aztec, who starts screaming as something is attacking him. Once we get to his location, we see that something, an unknown entity, has ripped apart not only through his nanosuit, which is very hard to do, but also through KPA forces. Prophet proceeds to cremate his body. We then reunite with everybody else and find a frozen boat in the middle of the island. This is where the team starts having doubts, but Prophet doesn't say anything as he claims he doesn't know, and suddenly a mechanical squid-looking thing snatches Jester. So we follow it and it ends up killing him. Anyway, we go back to our mission to rescue hostages and Dr. Rosenthal. The first hostage we rescue is a CIA operative that came to the island to keep an eye on the doctor. We find after that another hostage completely mangled by ice shards. So something is definitely up in this island. We reunite with Prophet again while the KPA fights the aliens, but just before we could do anything, he too gets captured. At this point, the US Army asks Nomad if he wants to abort the mission, to which he denies and says he can complete it. This is when we get to Dr. Rosenthal, being blackmailed by General Kyung, the leader of the KPA in the island, as he has the doctor's daughter. Turns out Rosenthal discovered technology that's more than 2 million years old, and that the same findings have been made in other places like Siberia and Afghanistan. Suddenly, the alien bursts out a massive energy wave that freezes everything in place except for Nomad, whose suit managed to keep alive. Dr. Rosenthal is dead, if that wasn't obvious. Nomad then proceeds to extract when a 4-man team with their own nanosuits start attacking him, which prompts him to say that there is no way the Koreans should have this technology yet. The US then leads a full invasion on the island led by Major Strickland. As the mission unfolds, the giant mountain in the middle of the island begins to crumble, revealing a gigantic alien structure inside. We enter the excavation site, but get captured by Kyung, who proceeds to kill one of the hostages and blow up the entrance to the ruins. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, the energy blast from the inside of the ruins kills all of Kyung's men. It didn't kill Helena for some reason, and we fight Kyung, who has a nanosuit of his own. We kill him and try to escape, but the VTOL cannot descend into the cave enough to save ourselves, so we must find an exit ourselves. And that's when the cave collapses. Our only option then is to enter the alien structure while documenting anything that happens inside. This place is a maze, by the way. I got lost a couple of times. It doesn't help that the movement in zero gravity in this game is horrendously bad. Also, these are the aliens. Remember them because you will never see them again. So we escape, and turns out that the entire mountain is frozen. So we descend and get attacked by more aliens, until Prophet comes to our rescue with an alien gun. We ask him how he got it to work, but he doesn't tell us. We get to a VTOL where Helena is as it crashed. Prophet and her live in a different VTOL, and then we must try and stop this gigantic 4-legged alien ship. We get in a VTOL to evacuate, but the ship is too close. Major Strickland then draws its fire, dying in the process. Along with the death of Major Strickland, our pilot dies, making us fly the ship, killing aliens along the way as we leave for the USS Constitution. Kinda funny, that name. Granted, this one is a carrier and the original one is a 3-mast boat, but still. We land on the carrier, where we reunite with Psycho and Helena, and they capture one of the aliens. In the CIC, General Morrison tells us that a nuclear strike has been authorized on the island. This is where Helena is super against it. And I'm gonna be honest, this is the same problem that Final Fantasy The Spirits Within has. Why does the game force you so much to agree with her? Granted, she is right, but a nuclear bomb is not the worst option. We do not know what we're dealing with, and her plan doesn't even have a guarantee. Granted, neither does the bomb, but I sure as hell would trust a 15-kiloton nuke rather than a theory. Anyway, we reunite with Prophet, who is having his suit tuned up, and then he literally storms out of the carrier. He grabs a VTOL and just rushes to the island. The nuke is detonated on the island with Prophet inside, but it doesn't do anything. In fact, the giant orb that was surrounding the mountain becomes bigger, suggesting that Helena's theory that the aliens absorb energy was right. So I just realized something while watching the gameplay back. Just before detonating the nuke, Helena says this:
Admiral, I'm begging you to reconsider. It's too much of a risk. What if this is exactly what they want? What if we're playing into their hands?
And I'm here wondering, what do you mean play right into their hands? You do not know if they are intelligent beings. Like, they have technology, but they haven't communicated with anybody. What intentions could they possibly have? Have you had time to study their psyche? Do you happen to know if they are master strategists? Are they a level 12 wizard or something? Like, genuinely, what prompts her to say that we could be playing into their hands? The more I think about it, the more it's weird, because as far as we know, she hasn't seen any of them active. Besides the one that attacked her, obviously. I don't know, small tangent in the middle of the video, but it's one of those things that doesn't make sense the more you think about it. The aliens begin assaulting the carrier, so we go to the reactor to shut it down. While the aliens are absorbing the energy from the reactor, Helena sends a signal through our suit that basically kills them.
I'm transmitting a signal through your suit.
I think it's working.
Don't sound so surprised. I told you this was working.
We go back up where Admiral Morrison is killed, and we grab the TAC cannon that was shown to us before while getting our suit prepped. After a bunch of fighting atop the carrier, a massive alien ship emerges from the sea. It's boss fight time. We destroy it with a TAC cannon. Bit of an annoying fight if I'm honest, but anyway. After that, we sprint to the VTOL piloted by Psycho, when the energy field created by the giant warship almost pulls Helena out of the VTOL, and the game ends with us flying once again back into the island to rescue Prophet and find the truth about the situation. Pretty straightforward, nothing super complicated here. We will talk about this game's biggest point later on the video, but for now, really good game. Would give it like an 8 out of 10, I guess, as it hasn't aged the best. As I said before, I'm playing the originals because the remasters suck dick. Also, it just feels better to play the original that started it all, although that meant having to deal with extremely wonky gameplay. There were actually a few things I didn't touch about Crysis 1, because honestly they aren't that important. Like for example, the game has like 15 different guns, some number around that. You can modify them, like you can put a different barrel, a different scope, the usual for shooters at the time. And I did skip a bunch of missions because when it comes to the overall story of the trilogy, they don't matter. The ones I didn't really mention too much have to do with the KPA, and I skipped them because after this game they just stopped mattering. So Crysis 2 starts in 2023, yes, there is a 3-year time skip. We are in New York, where a virus has flooded the city, and fears of an alien invasion by the Ceph, as the aliens are called, run rampant through the people's mind. Manhattan is placed under martial law, and Cell police the chaos, a private company run by Crynet, the creators of the nanosuit. We are Alcatraz, tasked with retrieving Dr. Nathan Gould, who may have information about the virus. But suddenly the submarine we are in gets attacked by the cephaloids, and we are allegedly the only survivor. But we get rescued by a man in a nanosuit, him being Prophet. And that's when we get the intro for the game. Wait a second, Hans Zimmer? We wake up equipped with a nanosuit and a dead Prophet by our side, having killed himself so that the suit integrates with Alcatraz instead of Prophet, as he was infected with the virus. The nanosuit serves as a life support machine for Alcatraz, who is silent due to having his corpse ruptured in the attack, though I think that's just a cheap way to save money. And he has multiple broken bones. He is basically a dead man walking. Gould contacts us, believing that we are Prophet and we must rescue him. Before that, Cell starts attacking us, again believing we are Prophet, as they have a grudge against him and because he was infected with the virus. It is then when we see Cell forces crash a Ceph ship, which prompts Gould to tell us to go to the wreck to gather information. Once there, aliens start attacking us. Remember these guys? Well, these are them now. Yeah, big design change here. Anyway, we kill them and this triggers a reaction in the nanosuit. In this game, whenever you kill a Ceph, you get points to upgrade your suit. Simple as that. We reunite with Gould, who realizes we are not Prophet, but the suit manages to play Prophet's last message. This makes Gould realize that the deep layer of the suit might have enough information to create a cure for the virus, so we must go to one of these chairs from the first game to access it. So we go to the lab and we kindly ask the doctor to run a scan. That's when we get attacked by Commander Lockhart and Tara Strickland, daughter of Major Strickland, both working private for Cell. Lockhart wants to kill us while Tara wants us alive. While we are leaving the building, a gigantic spire rises from the building, killing pretty much every human in the surroundings except us who adapt to the virus. And our suit gets rebooted by Jacob Hargreave, who tells us to enter the spire to see if our suit can interface with the alien technology. We fail due to the suit not being strong enough. Meanwhile, the US rescinds the authority of Cell over Manhattan and flood the city as we are about to leave, stranding us once again. It is then we are found by Marines, including this guy called Chino, who was with us at the start of the game, and we thought him dead. Hargreave tells us to go to the Hargreave Rush building, where we are to find a stabilizing agent, but Cell is already there and under the orders of Lockhart basically Starfall time until a Ceph pinger destroys the building, flooding it. We are then ordered again to go to Grand Central to rescue civilians. There we reunite with Gould, who tells us that he escaped Strickland, which prompts Colonel Barkley to be skeptic of the situation as Strickland is ex-Navy SEAL. Barkley, by the way, is the leader of the army that the US sent to Manhattan and flooded the city. Anyway, Ceph overrun Grand Central, but we manage to stop them and leave just before the building collapses, while leaving some innocents behind to die. It is then when we are tasked with holding a wall, basically stopping Ceph from crossing. That's when another spire appears, but the suit has finished processing, so we enter it again and this time repurpose the spores to attack the Ceph, killing everything except for this one pinger. It is then when we are tasked with going to Roosevelt Island, where Hargreave is. There we do a bunch of side objective and kill Lockhart. So we proceed to go where Hargreave is and boom! Plot twist. Hargreave and Tara were working together because Hargreave wants the suit for himself, as he says he is the only one that can save humanity. As we are getting a bit tortured by scientists removing the suit, boom, another plot twist. Turns out that Tara is not just a drunkard-esque Navy SEAL, she is in fact working for the CIA, so she helps us escape captivity. We then go confront Hargreave, and get basically the big plot twist of the first two games. Turns out that Hargreave has been in a vegetative state since the Tunguska event. That was in 1908, by the way. In real life, that event was a ginormous explosion that had 0 victims, not even injured, as it happened in the middle of nowhere. It is believed that what caused it was a meteorite that disintegrated in the atmosphere. Point being, in the game it seems that the Ceph were the cause of the event or something, I'm not that clear on that, and Hargreave has known about the Ceph for over a century, and he knew they were in New York. And that's how he created the suits. Basically they are not human technology, that's why they adapt themselves so well to the Ceph technology. Seeing as he cannot get the suit, he gives us the last thing we need, the Tunguska iteration, which fully repurposes the spore to be harmless to humans but lethal to the Ceph. As we leave the island, Hargreaves triggers a countdown for the explosion because the Ceph are attacking it, and he says to sell agents to help us escape. The bridge we were leaving from collapses, and we wake up on the shore where Gould and Strickland were waiting on our signal. Oh, Chino is also there. Anyway, Barclay warns Alcatraz that the US has approved another nuke on Manhattan, and that's when another even bigger spire basically leaves the entirety of Central Park. We go atop it, where we fight these annoying cloaked enemies. You have to kill 4 for this door to open. Originally, I thought I had killed all of them, but the door didn't open, so I had to backtrack and use thermal vision to find the last guy stuck. Anyway, we enter the spire and the suit works. It repurposes the spear to kill all Ceph life in New York. Alcatraz then, while unconscious, communicates with Prophet, telling him that they still have work to do, as the Ceph are stationed all over the world, and not only in New York or Lingshan. The suit then proceeds to say, merging the memories of Prophet and Alcatraz. That's when we receive a call from Carl Ernst Rush, the other creator of the nanosuit, and when he asks for our name, and the game ends. I am 100% sure you have questions, like for example, what happened to Nomad? What happened to Helena? What happened to Psycho? Why is there a 3-year time skip? "24 years after Crysis 2, no, I am not joking, it is 24 years after Crysis 2, the year is 2047. 3 men board what looks like a ship, begin killing people and rescue a man inside this thing. Turns out the leader of the men is Psycho, bit older with a different voice actor, and the man they just rescued is Prophet, like fully Prophet. You will see later. Anyway, in this world, Cell has taken over pretty much the entire world, and before the game begins, Psycho and Prophet were looking all around the globe for the Alpha Ceph. But after a while, his team loses interest and then are betrayed by Cell, who disabled the nanosuits and basically torture every single nanosuit user, including Psycho, to remove it. That's when Prophet's transfer is requested and Psycho rescues us. Psycho explains to us that Cell owns power over, well, power, electricity, as they managed to find a source for infinite energy. Wink wink. Cell is basically the biggest world power, and even Tara Strickland is trying to help a resistance that Psycho is a part of, because she is a US senator wannabe, but it doesn't help much. Anyway, we get introduced to our new setting, a post-apocalyptic New York inside this dome. Psycho wants to destroy System X, as the infinite power source is called, so that Cell is no longer a problem. Prophet is skeptical of the situation, but ends up agreeing. We reunite with the Resistance, where we meet Claire, whom Psycho seems to have a special relationship with, and Rush, who we can scan for some reason. He says it's because he created the suit, but something is obviously going on. Claire is skeptical of our help due to the insane amount of modifications in our body, as we are the last nanosuit user in the world. While going to destroy System X, we first have to disable a dam that powers other stuff, like System X defenses. Psycho says it's reassurance, but Prophet believes that they are scared of something below System X. Anyway, we blow up the dam, and then disable System X, which turns out to be the Alpha Ceph. Wow, very surprising. Anyway, the facility attempts to kill the Alpha Ceph, but fails miserably and the facility self-destructs. allowing the Alpha Ceph to fire a beam to the sky, creating an Einstein-Rosen bridge, or a wormhole to the M33 galaxy. To destroy the Alpha Ceph and stop the upcoming Ceph attack, we must unlock our suit. So we go to the skinning facility where Psycho was held. In there, we lift the neural blocks that stop the Ceph from interfering too much with us, and allow our suit to transform. Don't really know what that means, but still. Psycho also finds out who tortured him, and it turns out it was Claire, though she gives a pretty solid reason. Psycho was the first one to say that people in debt are basically slaves, and that's what Claire was when she skinned him. Psycho hands over the dog tags of a former crew and proceeds to leave, angry and upset. Because the Alpha Set created a wormhole, Cell activates a new plan to use a satellite called Archangel to blow up New York, and killing the Alpha Ceph. What is up with this trilogy and their love for nukes, Jesus Christ? Anyway, doing so would also make the Alpha Ceph blow up, destroying the planet. So that's a no-go. We do a bunch of side missions. Claire and Psycho rescue Rush, who had gone AWOL before but he is acting weird, and get to the control center and manage to stop Archangel. This is when it revealed that the reason we couldn't scan Rush wasn't because he created the suit, but because he was basically a Ceph at this point. Claire gets injured by Rush, Psycho and Claire leave, and Rush died, telling us that we have something that the Ceph don't. Anyway, it was kinda weird that Hargreave was like 150 years old, but Rush was kinda young, considering 24 years had gone by between the second and third game. The reason for that is that he used Ceph technology to extend his lifespan. We live in a battle with Psycho and Claire, which eventually crashes. Claire dies, succumbing to her injuries, and Michael, Psycho's real name, mourns her loss, but now doesn't want to be called Psycho anymore. We proceed to disable multiple Ceph's AAAs while helping other rebels. It is then when the place caves in, and we go to where the beam is. Along the way, we become a bit more Ceph, because why not? And we also need it to kill the Alpha Ceph. Boss fight time. This boss fight sucks, like I'm sorry, it wasn't even difficult, it was just tedious. These games have been decently hard, granted Crysis 1's difficulty was mostly artificial because the game hasn't aged spectacularly. Crysis 2 was more manageable, but this boss fight is just annoying. Anyway, we destroy it with the help of Psycho, but we get blasted into space by the beam. It is then when we see a ship similar to the one in Lingshan, and we blast it with Archangel. Yes, with the satellite. We grab the fucking satellite, point it at the ship, and blow it to pieces. Just how cool is that? It's also extremely hilarious, but cool nonetheless. This is when the blast makes us fall coincidentally in Lingshan, the same place where the Ceph were discovered by us 27 years ago. We wake up in a shack, which by the way is just this location from the first game. They didn't even change anything. The nanosuit is pretty much symbiotic, so it changes its looks to resemble a human body. In the background, we hear Senator Strickland speak, saying that all of Cell's assets have been seized. Prophet then throws the tags to the water, and we get the ending scene.
My name is Lawrence Barnes. They called me Prophet. Remember me.
In a post-credit scene, we see frightened soldiers and 3 men in business suits, running scared from something. Those 3 are the Cell board of directors, and the one that was persecuting them was Psycho, who tells them,
I was a guest at one of your hospitals a little while ago, and I'd like to make a complaint.
and that's the end. No sequel baiting, no nothing, just Psycho confronting the board of directors of Cell. So clearly, as I'm guessing it wasn't too hard for you to see, these games have a problem with story. Let's get into it. The biggest thing with the games is those random time skips that the games do between every entry, and they basically put a Wuthering Waves every single game. That is to introduce a character and they just disappear in the next one. Your biggest question in Crysis 2 is, well, what happened to Nomad? And to Helena? And to Psycho? Like, yes, Psycho appears in Crysis 3, but you don't know what happened to him in 2. Well, if you didn't know, these games have novels and comics, and sadly, what happens between 1 and 2 is explained there. Long story short, Helena is killed by accident by the CIA who were in the island. There's also a plot where they take a portal, go to Jupiter, and travel back in time 18 hours. Anyway, the CIA is there because a guy called West has a grudge against Prophet. It doesn't matter. Nomad also dies protecting other people. And that's all you need to know. Like really, two of the most important characters from the first game just die off screen. And the games do not give a single explanation for some fucking reason. Anyway, and why 23 years between 1 and 2? Like, I get it, they needed time for Cell to take over the world, but 23 years is way too long for no explanation to be given. Like seriously, do you know the amount of stuff that could happen in 23 years? Also, Gould disappears in Crysis 3. A file says he works for Cell, but that's it, no other mention otherwise. I hate doing this, but it's the only one I can think of right now. Instead of having 3 games, each with independent story, and then an overarching plot, like Mass Effect, these games tell one story over 3 games, and some plots inside each of them go nowhere, like the KPA stops mattering after Crysis 1. So yeah, I have my problems with these game stories, but it's not all their fault. I actually blame EA, as should anyone. Crysis 1 actually had part of its story scrapped, and it was used in Warhead and in later games, and basically what they try to do with those time skips is to basically reset the games, especially in 2, introducing people that didn't play the first one or Warhead to the franchise. Warhead, by the way, is a mid-quel. It happens at the same time as Crysis 1. That's why I didn't mention it. It's not that important, or at least it isn't to me. Now, the most important part of the Crysis games. Look at this game. Look at this. This is 2007. Mass Effect 1 came out in the same year. Assassin's Creed 1. This is insane for 2007. The reason Crysis looks so good is because it used features that were being pioneered at the time. Do not bore you with the technicalities, the game used one core, and only one core, and it used it extremely well. Meaning if your GPU had 16, 32, or whatever amount of cores, the game didn't care. So the joke, but can it run Crysis, continued forever because it can't scale with new hardware. The biggest thing with the game was the Cry engine. It was such an insane engine. It's similar to what Guerrilla's engine is doing today, with games like both Death Strandings and both Horizon games, granted not at the same scale. It is much more common today for games to look insanely good than it was at the time. Anyway, the thing is, with Crysis 1, I wanted to look back at a time I didn't experience. Sadly, I was born in a country that didn't really have access to technology or the internet at all, so I wasn't able to experience what I'm about to say. But I wanted to look back at a time where PC gaming meant something. At that time, PC games used to look so much better than console games because they were created PC first and then ported onto console. And because the consoles of the time weren't that strong, they just had to be downgraded. Games used to be well optimized in PC. And I find myself asking the question, when was all of this lost? When did we go from having PC games ported to console to making console games and flooding them with DRM, with kernel level anti-cheat, and with piss poor performance on what is supposed to be the strongest hardware there is? Was it mid-2010s? Because I remember that The Witcher 3, as an example, had to be downgraded on PC, not on console, because the PC version was much superior to the console ones. We are living in a world where you can count with your hands the number of PC games that run well and have no inconvenience. No need for a kernel level anti-cheat that doesn't work, no need to activate some unnecessary thing like secure boot, and with all of that, have great performance. Bit of a tangent honestly, but it is genuinely sad. Nixes has been doing great ports when it comes to PlayStation games. Games like Expedition work pretty well on my PC, and that's only a handful of games in the past 5 years. Fewer and fewer are the number of games that are PC first. And honestly, that's sad. Granted, I get why that is. We live in a capitalist world. The Witcher 3 sold 40 million copies, 12 million of those are only on PC. Can you imagine if CD Projekt had released their original PC version? Maybe instead of 12, it would be like 20 or even 25, who knows. I went on a tangent when it comes to ports, but I could also go on another tangent on remasters, as the game did get remasters 4 years ago. Granted, the first one is pretty mediocre, but the other two seem fine. But was it really necessary to remaster Crysis 3? Like, look at this sequence. I'm gonna let it play out entirely.
While you were off hunting some super alien that didn't even exist, Cell were busy taking over the world. We need you back in the here and now, boss. We need you to help us stop Cell.
There's more than your revolution going on here. I've seen this. Cell are toying with powers they can't begin to understand. Whatever they're doing, it's going to bring about the end of the world. We have to shut them down.
Fucking right we do. Let's get moving.
Did you see that? That was a game from 2013. That lip syncing, that quality of the faces, that's not something you see every day. It looks insane, and that's 2013. And the game isn't maxed out. It could look even better. Not only that, you're looking at 720p footage, because I am a poor piece of garbage that doesn't have space for 1080p recording. So yeah, not gonna talk too much about remasters and remakes, that's a whole nother discussion that doesn't need to happen. So yeah, all in all, I would rank this one right here. It's not better in my opinion than Mass Effect or Bioshock, and the only reason I'm putting it that high is because they did have a big impact on hardware, because otherwise they might not be that high. I think I forgot to give the other two games a score, but honestly I don't think any of the games are way better than the other, so I could just give all of them the same mark, that being an 8 out of 10 I guess. As of when I'm writing this video, Crytek is allegedly working on Crysis 4. Granted, I don't really know what they would say, because the story kinda just ended, and honestly, I can probably guarantee it won't be that good of a game. Funnily enough, after the release of Crysis 3, Crytek focused only on free-to-play titles for a while, which is very funny, because it probably means that making Crysis 3 wasn't worth it, as sadly, it failed to meet expectations. The franchise overall has sold around 8 million copies. Problem is, I cannot find information on Crysis 3. It seems like Crytek didn't give information about sales. Anyway, Crysis 1 is still the best selling game, and it's one of the best selling PC games of all time, with 3 million copies sold only on PC, which is kind of insane. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm making this video just after the cyberpunk one, and it's kind of insane that that video reached almost 7,000 views in a week. I am very grateful to all of you that watched it, and see you in the next video.